For more on this impending flood and what states are doing to avert any disaster, let's speak with the Director, Planning, Research and Forecasting of NEMA, Onimode Abdullahi Bandele, who is live with us here in the studio. It's good to have you this morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
Good morning. And joining us via Zoom, we have the Commissioner for Environment, A.B. Benson Olulu. It's good to have you on the program this morning, Mr. Olulu. All right, I hear he will join us shortly, but let's start with you. Every year we hear flood alerts, yet when flood comes, the response is often delayed and the damage keeps getting worse. Why is this always the case, and what's causing the delay, and what's being done to change this pattern?
Thank you very much. I listened to your narrative before the start of the program. NEMA as an organization, learning from our experience at the beginning of the year, we had an after-action review of our response for 2024. After this, we looked at the seasonal climate prediction by NEMA, and going forward, we had to re-strategize where we brought out with our technical partners the climate implication of the prediction before the release of AFU. Yes, sometimes you find delays in response, but this year, like I said, after the action review, NEMA drew up an action program, actionable program for preparedness first, because you need to let the people know that these are the predictions, these are the likely things that will happen, and this is what we expect the communities to do. As I speak with you, after that meeting, NEMA has put together the climate implication, and letters have been written to governors to say, look, your state is likely to be flooded. This is what you expect to do. SEMAs in the state should bring stakeholders together. Communities should be engaged to clean their drainages, remove gutter, remove debris, take care of your environment by doing proper waste management in preparation for the onset of the rain. And when the rain starts, people should now listen to messages. The climate implication of this prediction, NEMA has further gone down to translate into 3 Nigerian major languages, Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba. And we have encouraged states to please translate it to local dialect. I'm from Kogi State, take for instance. You could say there are Hausas, but what about the Okuman, who are my people? Yeah. What about the Biraman? What about the Galaman? Talk of the Basa person. So we encourage state government to say, okay, NEMA has sent in these messages. These are the summary of the message in local dialect. If we do that, the community will be fully engaged, the community will be duly informed, so there will be seamless communication from NEMA to SEMA and the end user of this prediction, which are the locals. So that is for preparedness. When talking about late response, I wouldn't say it's late, because flood does not just happen overnight. It takes time. Mm-hmm. While we may be battling with response in Kebbi, there will be an alert that has happened in Niger. Then you now have to mobilize. So to circumvent these delays, delays are different from lack of response at all. So to circumvent these delays, NEMA is now being proactive, and we're talking of stockpiling, putting the materials there before this flood comes.
Mr. Bandele, let me just pick you on this before we go to the Commissioner for Environment in Bayelsa. Okay. Quick one. Some delays are deadly.
Yeah.
And the pattern of the natural disaster in Nigeria is something that you could easily even talk about it, because what happened last year, it's happening this year. It's going to happen next year. And most times, the same area it happened last year, it will happen this year, it may happen next year. Now, the challenge is, in your coordination, how is it you relate with the various state governments that The flooded plains in 2024, for instance, should not be repeated in 2025, 2026. Do you have that kind of response so that we reduce the frequency of these disasters?
Maybe I should recount that your question. It's not that the place that was flooded in 2024 will not be flooded. If it gets flooded in 2025, what have we put in place to reduce the impact on the community? I started by saying after our action review, we saw gaps, and this after action review was done with state emergency management agencies. So those gaps were spelled out. You must agree with me that every community has its own way of dealing with this disaster. Even when you send messages to some community, they don't usually accept them there. But the general one is, please, when the water is coming, move upland. Has the state government found those upland? The answer is yes. Are the people ready to move? Do they move early? I remember when I was serving as zonal coordinator in the Southeast, there was a community we got to. We begged the old woman, let's move. Say, now here then bury my husband. All my cassava never finish. I know we'll go. But we have to persuade her. So what we are doing is we want to use people like the National Orientation Agency to do community engagement. We want to use the traditional rulers to talk to their people. We want to use town crier. It's not enough to say it on radio, but carry this message to the people that, look, if you remain here, these are the likelihood of the impact of this flood. So we are working in collaboration with state to ensure that our messages don't just get to the state, but it gets to the community where these floods are likely to happen. Like you said, water will naturally come. But if you move away from it, you can always come back when the water recedes. Let me quickly add, people say flood, flood, flood. Flood in itself is not a bad phenomenon. I will explain. When it comes and we're able to do early cropping with high maturing crops, we'll leave the place before the flood water comes. Then if you move out when the flood water is there, after the flood must have receded, this flood water has brought alluvial soil to your place. You can go back for another season of cropping. You understand? But we need to let the public understand that flooding itself is not an albatross, but rather we should plan to take advantage of this flood water when it comes.
Well, sensitization is truly necessary and taking advantage of the situation rather than dwelling on the disaster.